Give us an update on Jay. And
I haven't gotten the update. I heard that he bumped his knee. And Doc, I'm going to talk to Doc when I get back into the training room.
could you just talk about the game that your team had tonight, shooting the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we were due. And it was nice to see the ball go in the net. I mean, and, multiple guys played well and shot well. And a couple of those guys we need to score for us to be a good team.
Coach, in the first quarter, best first quarter you guys have had this season, Jared Sullinger in particular, talk a little about what he was able to bring to the game early on for you guys.
Well, he's really shooting the ball well. He's always been a good face-up shooter. He's shooting it probably even better right now, at least in the last couple of weeks. But he scored in the post. He rebounded. The one thing that going in is he's probably our best defensive rebounder. And so, I thought that he was pretty good. And the other thing that he did a good job of was he noticed when we were behind defensively. And so he'd jump out on Beal, jump out on Wall, and make it a little bit more difficult. He was very aware.
Brad, was that more to the pace that you're looking for?
Yeah, we haven't played with incredible pace. We haven't played slow by any means versus the league standards. I think we're ranked pretty highly in rate, but just not moving the ball and getting it side to side enough. And we made a decision to play pretty skilled. We'll just keep doing that probably.
And even defensively, pushing the pace into passing lanes.
Yeah, we've been pretty good at that the whole time so far. We haven't been perfect, but that's kind of what we've hung our hat on. And we've talked about it even last year that had to be a strength of our team, or else our team wasn't going to be very good. And I don't think we're. We've played some really good teams already, and so we've learned a lot about ourselves in the last 5 days, and some good, but some bad, and we'll figure it out.
Brad, they got a couple of quick baskets on you, Beal and Wall. You call timeout, and then you guys went on that run. What exactly happened in that timeout?
The only thing that I said was just we can't give up uncontested layups. You just can't give up uncontested layups, and two of them were in transition, and transition kills you with these guys. And they're really pushing the tempo. Their pace is great. And the worst thing that we can see as a team is Beal getting a layup early, because then he sees the ball go through the net. And when the ball goes through the net and you're that kind of player, then that makes you feel better about yourself, and that's not good. So we need to make things a lot more difficult than that to start the game. We were lucky to respond the way we did in that first quarter.
Brad, it seemed like Kelly played with the confidence that he showed in the preseason, and just little hesitation. He was making plays. What did you see out of him?
I just thought he was aggressive right out of the gate. Even on the first one or two possessions where he drove the ball and kicked it across the floor, I thought it was a move with authority instead of a move with hesitancy. And I think that the more that he can do that, the better he is. He's a very talented player. We've talked about that. And we need him to shoot it well for us to be a good team. We don't need him to be, the greatest shooter ever, but we need him to be a threat. And so it was good for all of us to see that. And, he had a great impact on tonight's game, I thought.
When the time is, playing time's undetermined and guys are kind of being shuttled in and out, how tough is it for a guy to just be himself?
Yeah, I've tried to. I haven't been able to get to everybody every night because sometimes it changes. But I try to tell them when they're probably going to go in, so that we can then, figure out, how we need to, or at least have an idea when you're going to go in on a night. Doesn't mean you're always going to get to play a lot if you don't play well, but at least to know. But again, I don't get the chance to do that with everybody every night. But I thought he just kept his head high. He works hard. He moved on to the next play regardless of circumstance, all that stuff that's important.
Yeah, Brad, it seemed, in the beginning of the year, it didn't seem like Jared was going to be one of the first guys off the bench. And I think maybe you even said after the first game that you didn't expect him to be one of the first guys off the bench, but he's been very consistent to start this year. What has he done to impress you so far?
Well, I thought he was very consistent all the way through camp defensively and awareness-wise. I just thought he was struggling offensively the first 3 weeks of training camp / exhibition season. So, you know, we talked about it. There's a lot of guys that can play that are at those positions, and so I was still trying things. Now, certainly, you know, he came in sometimes later than others, but he always played pretty good stints, and he always was pretty impactful. So I'm happy for him, but he's got to keep playing this way, and I think that he will.
Coach, you talked about Jared Sullinger's production in the first half, but what did you see from the team as a whole in that group?
Well, they were just moving the ball. They were sharing the ball. We were finding the right guy at the right time. We were shooting with confidence. You know, these guys put a lot of time in and effort in to shoot 26% like we did the first 4 games from three is, you know, not a good feeling for anybody. And they're better shooters than that. And so it was bound to go down if they kept their confidence at the right level. And so it was good to see that. But again, I think we'll go back through the tape, and as I look at it, and I think when shots go down, you feel a little bit better about life, and there's probably some things we really need to work on.
Coach, you have a few new big men on your roster. You're trying to figure out the best combinations, and you went tonight a lot with Sullinger and Olynyk, who've played a lot together over the past few years, going up against a really tough and powerful front line in Washington. How did it feel to have kind of a unit that you're more familiar with down there?
Well, I think the biggest thing going into this game, I just felt like we needed to play skilled because I thought they would pressure us quite a bit. So if we weren't able to stretch the defense with one of our bigs, make threes, or at least be a threat at 3, I thought we were going to be in trouble. So that was helpful that those guys not only are threats but made them. It's nice to see that go in. I don't know that familiarity is anything that, I mean, I think I'll get more used to the guys that are new, but they'll get more used to me. But I think that, you know, I'm okay with them playing with anybody just as long as we can, you know, today it was important to maintain spacing.
Yeah, Coach, this year Evan Turner, and we've talked about him playing more off the ball than he maybe did last season. How important was it for him to have a night where his shot was going down at a fairly consistent basis?
Yeah, 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row. I mean, he played really well at Indiana. Did a lot of good things. So it's, you know, Evan is an extremely reliable person. He comes to work. He maintains a good attitude. He's a teammate. He's got a lot of good qualities, and so it doesn't surprise me that he has a good night. But it's always nice to have that night to feel better about yourself if you've had a game or 2 that didn't go your way.
Rosier saw a lot of minutes. His offense wasn't great, but I thought his defense looked good. Could you talk about that?
Well, he probably saw more than I had planned, obviously, because he played the whole last 14 minutes or 13 minutes of the game. But he's a very capable shooter. I think he's very capable of getting to the paint. I thought he actually played a little bit tentative tonight versus what he usually does, like in practice when we, you know, the other 4 guys can't get down the court quick enough to get into our stuff because he's already down there. And he's trying to figure out that fine line of pace with running a team or organizing a team and staying in that gear. Probably a lot of John Wall tape would help that.
You guys have forced a load of turnovers so far this year. Is there increased focus on that at all?
Not an increased focus. We've changed a few things defensively. Not necessarily to turn people over, but to utilize our versatility as far as the quickness of our backcourt players more. You know, some switches here and there, some different techniques, those types of things. Thanks.